Oh, Farid, today you can be my Ahmad. That's my CEO. Okay, my chief executive officer from the organization I was working for. So I felt kind of offended. You know, so I'm being called Ahmad, and then I'm being called, you can be our driver, because we're all going out for lunch, and you know, I had a car at that. But then, why am I offended? But then the thing is that, did I go to correct him? I didn't, because he was my boss, right? And then if I do correct him, what's going to happen to me? So I'm saying there's a power differential there. Or sometimes because we don't say anything because, oh yeah, it's just a joke. Then you're so sensitive, Simon. You're so sensitive. So then we allow it to pass.
Actually, it's like me. I'm exactly like that. And what the first thing that happened was also during my secondary school time, where there was this Chinese guy who was berating the Indian guy who was beside me, and said, you know, you're black, you're stupid also, like, get out from this class. It was a maths class. They were just shouting at each other. So I asked them just keep quiet and all that. Then the other guy said, no, like, just sit down, just let this blackie sit one corner. Then the guy said, you know, why you call me blackie and all that. They say, why can't you just be like Jahangir, you know, he's not as dark as you, he's also a bit fairer, he's smarter and all that. And I didn't say anything. I just sat down and just, you know, okay, whatever lah. Then the other guy just left. Then, yeah, that was it. I never questioned him, I never stopped him, nothing. So it was because of that, after that incident, right, I wanted to do, you know, those right things, to stand up. But even during my degree days, like there was one case, you know, because I was dark skinned, and they had another friend that they wanted to join in the group, so they actually kicked me out. And then right after that, the next day, they're already talking bad about me, and I didn't stand up for myself and say, you know, this is wrong and it's hurtful. All I did was just pack up and move away, and I think that was the wrong thing to do on hindsight. I should have just stand up for myself and say, you know, what you're perpetrating is very bad, and you go out to the working world and you say this, bad things can happen to you as well. I should have said that, but I wanted to say that in my heart, but I didn't do it because I didn't want to have a commotion. So I just kept to myself and said, just move, and you know, things would settle.
But here again is also a dilemma. If he goes and stands up and says, it's either maybe they might change the possibility of the positive effect. The negative effect, all of them will be against him. And instead of one, now he may have actually manifested in many other.
So there's that self-preservation, I put it that way, right, on the spot. But is there something else we can do after that? So that's another thing I want to say, have us to think about. But let's just explore some more reasons, right? We're at ignorance. We're at that social phenomenon where people may be looking at their own self-preservation and not doing anything. Therefore, the signal given to that is it's okay. Again, it's a form of ignorance. Or maybe it's not even ignorance. It's actually a reinforcing kind of, I get a socially reinforced message to tell me that it's okay. And the exception are these really uncool people who push back, right? So if we want to change that, and this particular dialogue is part of the process of trying to actually bring that up. What about other theories, other hypotheses? What about, like, you know, insecurity? What about fear? What about, I don't know, are those things popping up in your head?
I think for myself, I think what I would like is to learn the skills, how to stand up on behalf. So I was at a lunch one day, it was also a work context, where one senior gentleman, Chinese gentleman, was asking a new Indian colleague, and I think he was trying to be nice, he was trying to make him feel welcome, but he did it in such a strange way by asking him, oh, I heard you Indians like this, you like that, or Indians like to do this. I felt so strange because I knew he was trying to be welcoming and nice, but I could feel it's so awkward for my new colleague as well. And later on, when I went to talk to my colleague, so after the meal and we were just two of us, I asked him, like, oh, I'm so sorry that happened, like, you know, are you okay and how did you feel about that? And that Indian colleague was very nice. He was like, oh, no, don't worry, you know, I know he's just, this uncle, he's just trying to be nice. It's okay, you know, I'm fine. So I also felt like, oh, is it appropriate for me to speak up at that moment? Is it appropriate for me to say anything? Is it appropriate for me to put a stop? Especially if my Indian colleague tells me that he is fine with it and it's all right. And also, is it appropriate for me, how do I actually say it? Because this uncle was trying to be nice, but in a very, very awkward way. How do I even communicate it without coming across as being antagonistic and disrespectful and putting him down? I felt I lacked the skills, and I think because we don't really get a chance to talk about this, I don't get a chance to learn how to have the skills to to make the situation better. I think sometimes we try by quickly changing the subject, but it doesn't actually address the situation.
If I keep telling you that you're not clever, you're not good, you're stupid, you're not good looking, not attractive, if I keep on giving that message to you again and again and again, right? It could be perpetuating, it could cause, damage at that internalizing effect. Anybody has that experience where they have internalized, yeah, I'm Malay, therefore I'm not good at maths. Does that happen?
Yeah, because I'm a very sensitive person and I get affected by every small little thing. So I analyze everyone's body language and I will start to overthink whether they really truly mean it or not. So as a person who was in NT, that kind, right? And I was doing school activities as well and I was juggling with all of that. And having people in the same time just like looking at me just like, oh, she's in NT, like how come like she's vice president for the student council, like, or like they will perceive me as like, oh, I'm not clever since I'm in NT. They were like as well for being Malay and stuff lah. Then after that they will be like, oh, maybe like what else would they say? They will say a lot of mean things. Like.
You're actually sharing that it does affect you when people give you this messaging all the time that you're not good enough, you're not good enough. That's not helpful. Yeah. But thank you. I think we've got time for just the last, thank you for all those stories. Just one last segment, and this last segment is, what would you like to see being done?
So what my dad does is every time we try to get together during dinner time when everybody is home and all that. Then we talk about several things, and during this dinner table time, we also share our experience of things that happen to us, be it racism or other things. So we'll just say, oh, this thing happened to me in my workplace. How should I have went about it and all that? Then everybody gives ideas, and how we should overcome it. So starting from there, everybody, maybe they get a sense on how to go on or move on from that experience. And then also the next thing is also to, during the school time, maybe they should have a curriculum where maybe even during social studies, right? It's called social studies or something. They can even discuss about this, racism and all that could be one of them. They can talk about, like the races, all these are the races here, you got Eurasians, and even the others, they can explain a bit more.
So it's not done right now.
Correct.
In school?
I don't think so. I'm not very sure, I'm sorry. Okay. But I don't think so. Maybe they should talk more about it and how people from different races should, if they encounter racism, how they should go about it, breaking it down.
I'm hoping like for, what can we do about this, right? I'm actually hoping like TV programming, especially on the Chinese channel, can be a bit more diverse, because I think growing up I noticed that it's the Channel 5 televisions where you have a character or different characters of different races in a particular show, but I think when they deal with each other, they don't deal with race issues or awkward issues, and then it teach us how to maybe interact better.
I think everyone has to come into a realization that, some people aren't comfortable with names you call them, some people aren't comfortable with stereotypes you put onto them. And even though it may seem like, over emotional, that kind of thing, right? It really isn't, because some things just hurt. And like, if they're not comfortable with it, then so be it, they're not comfortable with it. So when it comes to speaking up about it, right? Like, I hope there'll be like an individual will be like, okay, like if you're not comfortable with it, then tell me what else you're not comfortable with. Like, if it's you like being stereotyped with this, then I won't speak much about it. If you're uncomfortable with being called like this, then I'll stop calling you that. Even though like there'll be certain times where they'll accidentally call you out of it. Then like, maybe if you accidentally call them out on it, you'll just be like, oh, sorry, I didn't mean to call you that. I'll try my best to like stop. Regarding like maybe the individuals themselves, even before, especially nowadays, people just blurt out whatever they want to say, and they should actually think about what they say to their friends, family, or whoever it is across the street. To always think before they speak, and also conceptualize. Am I whatever I'm saying, is it correct? Is it right to say that? Think before you even verbalize certain rude words or derogatory terms.
That goes into and when we say think, we also think about well, what kind of feedback have I gotten, right? If I've been using the word blackie all my life and nobody has told me it's bad, then my experience tell me it's okay, what? So I'll carry on lah. Or maybe I've done it with my good friends. We are kaki, so I can call each other whatever, right? But then when I start calling somebody who's not my very good friend the same thing, it's very different. So the context has changed, and that person will be hurt. So based on this, you know, there is a need for social education or feedback, which is, as humans, we learn from that.
If I reflect on my childhood, a lot of the classrooms that I was in were all Chinese. Probably only 1 or 2 classes I actually had with people who were non-Chinese, and I think that really didn't give me the opportunity to hear from, you know, for myself, from people like you, very genuine stories about how I felt. And therefore, it's only in confrontational situations that later on, you know, you start seeing. So one thing I really hope is to have more social opportunities in schools, maybe workplaces, so that we get to hear how people are hurt or what people would like or what's happening out there in peace times, and not just you know, be confronted that I said something wrong in that moment where I said something wrong. But I think when we normalize the way we think or speak about other races, when we're in a group of people who are all our race, that sort of makes us internalize the negative image as well, and that sort of sets a tone for the culture. So I'm really hoping even when we're within our families of the same race, we will be conscious about racism as well.